Welcome back, Patriots, to the Bald Brad Show. The microphone is working on this show opener. Couldn't be happier than to spend this hump day with all of you. And also, dare I say it, less than 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks until we see Mr. 45, soon to be 47, standing up there taking the oath of office. So that's going to be exciting. And Mr. 45, soon to be 47, is pissing a lot of people off. He's pissing off the Canadians. He's pissing off the Iranians. He's pissing off the left, but that's nothing new. So we got everything to cover here. A little bit of exciting stuff as well. But Patriots, thank you for joining me on this morning and always choosing our podcast to get your day kicked off with the news. So let's just jump into things here. We have Justin Trudeau resigning, right? Now, he's not leaving as prime minister. He would have to actually resign that position and then hold a new election. The election is coming up in October, and they think it's going to be Pierre here. Now, Pierre is basically the Trump of Canada. This guy's awesome. We highlighted him yesterday. So let's look at him again. Pierre, on Tuesday, blasted Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's defense against President-elect Donald Trump's taunts of Canada becoming the United States' 51st state. From my understanding, this was all a joke where they were talking, I think it was at Mar-a-Lago or something, because Donald Trump was saying, hey, you know what? If you don't want to get in line, then we're going to impose a 25% tariff on Canada, which is going to hurt them pretty bad. Especially that, Canada, 60% of their trade is with us. So they got to get along with us. We don't necessarily have to get along with them, but we should. They're to the north. They're good people. So Trump tells them this, and it's kind of like, well, what are you going to do if, we don't? And he goes, well, you could become the 51st state. It was a joke. It was offhand. Canada's not going to become a part of the United States. And if it does, then boy, am I wrong. And I don't know how to socially understand things. Well, Trump has repeatedly hounded Trudeau, even as the struggling prime minister's popularity has plummeted in Canada. The president-elect's taunts came after weeks of threatening Canada with a 25% tariff and to demand Canada to secure its border and stop illegal immigration into the United States. Now, there isn't much illegal immigration coming through Canada, but if you're going to do it to the southern border, you got to do it to the northern border. And also, you got to make sure that northern border isn't utilized in the same way the southern border is by allowing terrorists and sex trafficking, drug trafficking, doesn't matter what it is, to take place. Pierre is the favorite to replace Trudeau as prime minister as soon as new parliamentary elections can be held. The Conservative Party leader, in a statement Tuesday, defended Canada against Trump's call to join the United States while simultaneously attacking Trudeau's government and party for its feasible response. Thank you so much, Danielle, for the $9.99. Wow, thank you. Morning, Brad. No, good morning to you. As you can see, we have a target, and I said I would try to implement this a little bit more. I sometimes feel like a homeless person, like a beggar, but thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's going to go a long way. Folks, we're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers this year. And to do that, we have to promote our videos. When we promote our videos, what that does is it basically forces YouTube to literally send my videos out there to new people. And that's how we're getting our subscribers right now. If I don't do that, we don't get anything because YouTube hates us. So YouTube's like, if you want to move, you got to pay me. So that's what we're going to be doing. Brad, will you be covering the inauguration? I really enjoyed watching your coverage of the election. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I want to. I just don't know if I'm going to be home for it. It's the 20th. I don't know what day the 20th is, but if I'm not at work, I will be doing it all day. You're damn right. I mean, look, we did the election. I was a little giddy schoolgirl. I felt like a Girl Scout selling all my Girl Scout cookies. Canada will never be the 51st state, period, Pierre said on X. We are a great and independent country. We are the best friend to the United States. There's truth to that. We spent billions of dollars and hundreds of helping Americans retaliate against Al-Qaeda and 9/11 attacks. We supplied the U.S. with billions of dollars of high quality and totally reliable energy, well below market prices, which, by the way, there is news that there's a lady, I forgot her name, that's kind of threatening. Some Canadians are threatening to withhold power to like 1 million Americans. Try it, suckers. Try it. We're crazy. We buy hundreds of billions of dollars of American goods. Our weak and pathetic NDP liberal government has failed to make these obvious points. And he makes good points. I like Pierre. He also summarized that his agenda would be, as prime minister, promising to build up Canada's military, which is good for us, by the way, and strengthen its borders and immigration policies. All of what he said is no-brainer. That is the function of government, to have a strong military to protect its citizens and to strengthen your borders. I mean, what's there to complain about here? Canada has a strong military that guards us from the north. The Canadians are an ally. Hopefully they always stay that way. Obviously, the UK are allies. Shout out to Shib over there and all the buddies that watch the show from the United Kingdom. They're our allies. There are men and women in arms, baby. Mexico, we got to figure that one out. Mexico's a little rough. So, and then he also promised to cut taxes and regulations and support economic development, which is a good thing. In other words, we put Canada first. God, what does that sound like? Sounds a lot like Trump's messaging. And like I said, he is a lot like Trump. Hours before this post, though, Trudeau put out a short statement asserting that there isn't a snowball's chance in hell. I can't believe we're even doing this to talk about it. Not a chance in hell that Canada would become part of the United States. Shit. It's just funny how Trump says anything, and it's like mainstream big news. And it was just, it wasn't even on the record. Somebody overheard it, like thrown out there, and then it become mainstream news that Canada is going to be part of the United States, and everybody believes it. Workers and communities in both our countries benefit from each other's biggest trading and security partner. Pierre's Conservative Party is overwhelmingly favored to win. Yeah, it should be a landslide in October when that happens. In Canada's parliament in the next election, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation currently projects that the Conservative Party will win 227 out of 338 seats in the House. There's about a 98% chance he's going to win the majority. Oh yeah, Big Lee. Again, good morning, Patriots. It's good to see all of you in the live chat once again. Yes, the inauguration is on the 20th, and if I'm not working again, I do plan on covering it. I got to be there. We've been there for so many major moments of Donald Trump. We got to be there again for another great one. People are saying World War III started 2 years ago. Maybe, who knows? Donald Trump is. We got a lot of Trump news today, which is always good. Now, Canadian politicians, other than Pierre, are also not happy. Trump pissed off the Canadians, which is hard to do. There's that cliche, there's that stereotype that the Canadians are all warm and welcoming, right? How you doing? Ain't about to move. Right? They love everybody. Well, right now, Trump is pissing off some of them. Trump is still beloved, but Canadians are happy here. Trump said during a Thursday press conference at Mar-a-Lago that the U.S. subsidized Canada to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars per year and got very little in exchange. And Trump is making a fabulous point here, and it goes beyond Canada. Everybody takes our money. Billions of dollars hundreds of billions of dollars every single year we send to all these countries, and all they do is treat us like crap. And I said for years, by the way, that these people, meaning countries, are two-faced. We send them hundreds of billions of dollars, and then at the United Nations, they vote against us. They don't go with us. They talk crap to everybody else. And then behind closed doors, they're all cool buddy with us. They try to act like they're holier than thou above the rest of us, even though they're taking our hard-earned money. And then they got bad things to say. They're going to rip on Donald Trump, the Americans. Oh, the bloody Americans, look at them. Okay, fine. We'll just stop writing the checks. That's not a problem. Hell, we could spend that on our roads here, which we should be. We could spend it on our veterans. We could clip the homeless problem. Hell, we could build up our infrastructure again. The subway system in New York just looks like crap. Sorry for those in New York, but it does. It's like our metro system in LA. It's garbage. Yeah, maybe we could just save our money and just stop giving it to everybody that wants to be a-holes to us. I've always said it's the weirdest thing to me that if you put that on an individual level, that's what I always say with politics. If you could take it from a federal, national to an individual level and it's linear, then okay. well, there's still more thoughts to go there and a little extrapolation, but we can make the connection at least some way, shape, or form. And what I mean by that is, hey, you got a neighbor down the road here that you're writing checks to, that you're giving some charity to, and they're just flipping you off, talking crap to other people about you, say, oh, look how they run their household, what a piece of crap they are, blah, blah, blah. Oh, look at what Shireen's doing again. All these things. Would you keep writing them checks? And then lo and behold, the other person that you're writing checks for is a terrorist. He's like, I'm going to blow you up. I want to behead you. I want to sit there and get rid of everything about you. Cool. Yeah, no, here's another $1,000. Yeah, no big deal. Why would you give somebody money that's constantly talking crap and treating you like crap? It doesn't make sense, and we're doing it, and Trump's picking up. Now, the Canadians don't necessarily treat us like crap, but you understand. So he says, I don't essentially have a military. They have a very small military, he said. They rely on our military. It's all fine, but they got to pay for that. It's very unfair. And he's right again. All these countries, if you look at the Nordic countries, a lot of people talk about, well, look how the Nordic countries have their health care. Look how they run their economy, which is basically almost, it's not a free market, right? Nothing's really a free market nowadays, but it follows in line with that. They don't pay for their military. If you notice, all these people in NATO, all these people rely on our military to cover their you know what. And guess who's also benefiting from that? Canada and Mexico benefit from the most powerful military that's ever existed in human existence. And they're getting away with it. So not only are we giving them free security, but we're also allowing them to not pay up. How do we take that to I love this. People go, well, how do you take that to an individual level, Brad? Sure, I'll give you a prime example. There's a reason why police officers get a free cup of coffee at donut stores. I know this because I'm a family of law enforcement. And you go there and you get your free cup of coffee. The reason why is because when you're sitting there having a cup of coffee doing your reports in a donut shop, that's free security for the what? The donut shop. A cup of coffee is pennies. A security. You guys go look up how much private security is. Ain't nobody going to be robbing your freaking donut store with a cop sitting there. Now, in today's day and world, maybe, especially if you're in LA, but you understand the point I'm trying to make. He said, we're going to put very serious tariffs on Canada to level the playing field until Canada decides to give us better trade terms to stop the flow of drugs and illegal aliens pouring across America's northern borders. Trump was then asked to respond to Canadian opposition leader Pierre Leader, the Conservative Party, who posted on X, Canada will never be the 51st state. We are a great and independent country, Pierre claimed, adding that he will win and put Canada first. Trump responded by saying, maybe he won't win, but maybe he will. I don't care. Can I just, is there a video of it? No, there's no video. Oh, I want to read it like Trump. Maybe he won't win, which he's going to. It's 98% chance the guy's going to win in a landslide. But maybe he will. I don't care. It's freaking great. Listen, I don't care what he says, Trump said, adding to what he would use economic force to annex or acquire Canada. Can't believe this is a talking point. If that's what he decides to do. Trump continued, we're spending hundreds of billions of dollars a year to protect it. We're spending hundreds of billions a year to take care of Canada. In trade deficits, we're losing massive. We don't need their cars. They don't make 20% of our cars. We don't need that. I'd rather make them in Detroit. We don't need the cars. We don't need their lumber. We have massive fields of lumber. We don't need their lumber. We have to unrestrict them for being stupid people, put restrictions on. But I can't do that with an executive order. We don't need anything they have. We don't need their dairy products. We have more than they have. We don't need anything. So why are they losing $200 billion a year? Why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? So I don't know if I fully agree with everything there, but again, he's making good points and, points that I think need to be said. And sometimes, for some reason, us, as the dominant power on the globe, we walk on eggshells all the time. You guys notice that? Whether it's at the United Nations, we have to speak a certain way and be all professional. Why is it everybody else gets to act like jackasses and we don't? Why is it everybody else keeps poking the bear and we're not allowed to punch down and retaliate? I've always said this with the Iranians. They send their Houthis and their terrorists to attack merchant vessels all across our oceans. and then they go and put an AK-47 to a guy's head, and we can't do anything about it. And it's like, oh, well, just ring a few off the bow. I've always said this, throw a freaking heat-seeking missile at that pontoon boat and blow it up out of the sky, get it nice on 4K, post it everywhere. I'll post it. And just show, if you do this, you want to F around and find out, you're going to turn to mist. And there ain't going to be no identifiers, and we're going to post this video everywhere. So every time there's a pontoon boat that wants to fire some rounds at a merchant vessel, you're gone, evaporated, kaput. You sacrifice your life, and you're going to have your virgins or whatever the hell they're talking about all the time. Lulu, thank you so much for the $2. We have 2 of the 5 targets we're trying to hit here. She says, Doge. I love it. I love our community, and I love Doge. If you're new here, folks, we do this each and every morning, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Hit that subscribe button and follow us if you feel like we deserve it. Rumor is they're going to raise taxes to put the fire out. I think a lot of people, I don't know what people are talking about. Some people are asking about the fire in LA. It's bad. The LA fire is bad. And you guys, the wind here is wild. So I'm south, way south of LA. The LA fires are bad, but the wind right now, because we have the Santa Ana winds, are like 50 miles an hour. And in some places it's hitting like 70. Folks, that's like, I think when it hits 75, it's hurricane weather. It's the wind is freaking bonkers right now. It's like, I know where I'm at, it's like 50 something. It was last night like 50 something miles an hour. Pretty crazy. I'm blowing everywhere. But it is nuts. And the fires are bad. I'm not bringing that down. With that type of wind, those fires spread. There's no firefighters trying to put it out in some areas. It'll kill you. It's going so fast you can't outrun it. So yeah, pray for everybody up in LA, man. As much as we don't like Hollywood, there's a lot of good people up there, and just people in general. Nobody deserves that. I mean, people were fleeing their cars, you guys. They just left their car on the road, said, I'm out. Every year, California's a wildfire. Yeah, we do. Yeah. Well, look who's running the show, right? You got Gavin Newsom. Can't pull his head out of his ass. You guys in it. Don't get me. You guys get me riled. I know what you're doing. You're going to get me riled up on the politicians here in California. I'm not going to allow it. You got to pay me for that. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I should have said that. Now it's going to happen. I'm kidding. Well, I like this move here, what Trump did yesterday. So Trump made a big league statement, and no, it wasn't buying Canada or buying Greenland, which Greenland, I guess, is a serious talking point now. I thought that was a joke, but no, it seems like that might actually happen. That one's wild. But Donald Trump said something, and I liked it. And what was that something, folks? Well, you're going to have to wait and find out. You might be wondering, hey, how do you have so much energy in the morning, Brad? You wake up at 4:30 and sometimes you go to bed at midnight. How do you do it? Well, folks, you guys know what we be drinking here in the morning. We're drinking a lot of coffee. I can't show you because it's going to spill. Do you enjoy the free speech that Rumble is protecting, fighting for, folks? Our show on Rumble is only possible thanks to viewers supporting Rumble's platform by purchasing Rumble's products. Most of you drink coffee every day, and mind you, we are a morning show, so a lot of you do drink coffee with me. Some of you drink tea, but most are coffee. And that's why you have to try Rumble's $17.75 coffee. It's actually some of the best coffee, and it's the same price as the coffee you buy now. So you're spending the same, and you're getting better premium coffee, but it's way better. So Rumble 17.75 coffee is free from chemicals, yet rich in flavor. That is because they source these beans from high altitudes in Bolivia, hand-picked, roasted weekly at their facility in Miami, and then they deliver it fresh to your doorstep, folks. And as believers in freedom, buying from Rumble helps fight back against woke corporations like Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts who don't like free speech and they don't like American values. Join the join the coffee revolution and brew rebellion with Rumble 1775 coffee. Go to 1775coffee.com, use promo code STUDIO, and get a free month supply of their cognitive boosting supplement Limitless when you buy 2 bags of their coffee. Again, go to 1775coffee.com and use promo code STUDIO. A lot of you are emailing me saying that you like the medium roast. I'm a dark roast, and that's why this happens. If I went medium, baby face. Dark roast, beard face. It actually really is good coffee. If a product sucked, I'm not going to let you guys know about it. Why on God's green earth would I ever tell you to purchase something if the product was dog crap? Doesn't make any sense, right? So check out that coffee. It's even worth just a try. just to try. Grab a bag. All right, here's what Trump did. You guys ready for this? I love this. I love it. Trump announces United States to change name of the Gulf of Mexico. And dude is serious about it. I'm all about this. I love it. President-elect Donald Trump announced on Tuesday that the U.S. in the coming weeks will be renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. I love it. Trump made the announcement during a press conference at Mar-a-Lago while speaking about trade deficits that the U.S. has with the southern neighbor. We have a massive deficit with Mexico, and we help Mexico a lot, Trump said. They're essentially run by the cartels. That's true. And we can't let that happen. Mexico is in really big trouble here, a lot of trouble, a very dangerous place. Trump said that a future date, which he said would be pretty soon, that his administration will be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. The Gulf of America. What a beautiful... This is how he said it. This is really how he said it. He goes, the Gulf of America. What a beautiful name. It's appropriate. It's appropriate. I mean, he's not wrong.
With Mexico, we have a massive deficit with Mexico, and we help Mexico a lot. They're essentially run by the cartels, and can't let that happen. Mexico's really in trouble, a lot of trouble. Very dangerous place. And we're going to be announcing a future date pretty soon. We're going to change because we do most of the work there, and it's ours. We're going to be changing, sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate. And Mexico has to stop allowing.
Did I not read that perfectly as Trump's voice? Did I not do that justice?
What a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate.
It's appropriate. It's appropriate. I'm not saying I did the voice perfect. What I'm saying is it's just, the tone was there, the enthusiasm, and how Trump does it. It was there. It was. You just got to look for it. Look harder if you didn't see it. So Mexico's in a frantic state of preparation, by the way, for the incoming Trump administration, as officials worry Trump could take military action against the country's notorious drug cartels. Hell yeah. Why would we not? The cartels are bringing in pounds and pounds, tons of fentanyl that's killing 250,000 Americans. Why would we not go after them? And as we should be. So Mexico's new far-left president, who blames her country's problems on the U.S., that says everything you need to know about this woman, by the way. Everything you need to know. It's everybody else's fault. It couldn't possibly be your country's fault. That's clearly been spiraling out of control for decades. And has tried to calm nerves in her country over the possibility of U.S. military intervention, claiming there won't be an invasion. It's not going to happen. I don't think there's going to be an invasion either. But if you don't think that we're not going to be sending in some teams to go in there and start taking out these cartel guys, you got another thing coming to you. You got another thing coming to you. The Wall Street Journal reported that Mexican officials are rushing to gauge just how serious the threat from Trump is, especially considering the two of Trump's picks for his upcoming administration, Mike Waltz for National Security Advisor and Pete Hegseth for Secretary of Defense, are proponents of the idea. As am I, by the way. I'm not a proponent in neither of these guys of invading Mexico. I don't think anybody's talking about that. From my understanding, it's, hey, we're going to send in tactical teams over various places throughout Mexico, and we're going to start wiping out these cartel guys, and we'll just stealthily leave. Trump indicated on the campaign trail that he would use military action against the drug cartels, correct, who fuel the deaths of north of 100,000 Americans per year. He's also indicated that he would use the United States Navy to stop fentanyl precursors from arriving in Mexico from China, and he would designate the drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. I got no qualms with any of this, by the way. This is all logical. It just makes sense to me. As to why Joey didn't do it, well, he's not Joe. Well, Joe's not there. Joe hasn't been there for 4 years. Joe doesn't even know where he's at. He's also threatened steep tariffs. And if Mexico does not stop the flow of illegal aliens and drugs across the U.S.-Mexico border, the Journal reports that in response to Trump's threats, the president of Mexico is starting to take action against the cartel, arguably the world's most powerful drug trafficking organization. Mexican law enforcement has made record seizures of fentanyl from the cartel, and she sent her security minister to oversee the efforts to take back control of the state where organized crime dominates. It makes me wonder if that's actually true or not. I mean, the cartel will cut your head off and just leave it on top of your car like they did with that one guy. The guy was like elected for 24 hours and they killed him. So it makes me wonder how true that really is, because Mexico has said, hey, we'll figure out the border. They did this in the past. They go, we'll help you take care of the border. We'll make sure that people aren't coming here illegally and then crossing over. And then we showed video here on the channel, like right after they said that, of Mexico police escorting busloads of illegal immigrants to the border. So they're saying one thing and doing another. I'll believe it when I see it. How about that? I'll believe it when I see it. Trump now is not just pissing off the Canadians. He's not just pissing off the Mexicans. He's pissing off the Iranians. Now, the Iranians already didn't like this guy. And the reason why, because we don't let them just, perform terrorist attacks like Joey does. Joe loves terrorism. He has to, right? To allow what he's been allowing. You have to love certain things tremendously to allow those types of things to take place. What other reason is there, you guys? He loves illegal immigration. You don't just like it and you allow 10+ million people, terrorists, drug traffickers, criminals, murderers, like all these people to pour into your country if you don't love it. Oh, he loves illegal immigration. He loves terrorism. Folks, you don't fund terrorism to the tune of billions of dollars every single year and not love it. Right? You're not going to throw massive amount of money at something on an individual level if you don't really love it, or else you're just wasting money. I mean, everything that you're seeing here, the Democrats love. So much so that they voted for Kamala with over 70 million votes. They love watching this country get crippled. You got to understand that people will say something to your face that seems like they're similar to you of, oh, well, yeah, no, I don't like illegal immigration either. I don't want terrorists here. But then they vote for a party that wants to allow the thing that they don't like to happen. It's the craziest psychological thing I've ever seen in my entire life, that they'll say one thing and they'll vote for the thing that goes against the thing that they say. I don't know. It's, if somebody can figure out the psychological term of that, please email it to me, TheBaldBradShow@gmail.com, because I've been trying to figure out the logic behind Democrats and their voting patterns, and it's ass backwards. It really is. I mean, some of them are waking up. For example, we had the Prop 47, and then we had Prop 36, and actually people voted for Prop 36 in California. It's odd as hell to me, man. It really is. So the Iranians here. So Trump said on Tuesday that Hamas terrorist organization must release the hostages that it kidnapped during its unprecedented October 7th terrorist attack against Israel before Inauguration Day, or else all hell will break out. And I think there's a clip here. And I want to emphasize this, you guys, and everybody needs to watch this carefully. And I rarely ever tell everybody, like, hey, let's put on our listening ears. Let's really focus on this clip. Because what Trump is doing here is important. And I'm going to play the clip of why this is going on. And I'm going to explain what he needs to do if he doesn't get the result that he wants.
That all hell must be paid if they don't release the hostages.
Well, do I have to define it for you? Look, all hell will break out. If those hostages aren't back, I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is. And they should have given them back a long time. They should have never taken them. There should have never been the attack of October 7th. People forget that.
He's right. Trump is correct here. But here's the issue. He put himself in a position of speaking those kind of words. They might call him on his bluff. And I'm not saying he is bluffing, but they could test the waters here and go, okay, well, let's see what you got. That could happen. And here's what Trump has to do. and I mean this, I'm dead serious, you guys. I'm as serious as a heart attack here. If by January 20th, all those hostages are not freed, because if you look at Gaza right there, I'm talking have a massive military movement to the likes that we haven't seen in our lifetime. I'm talking maybe Gulf War movement. That doesn't mean we're going to start doing anything, but I'm talking start pulling up the Navy real quick. Multiple carrier strike groups going. Not one, not two, multiples. I'm talking flying just do some runs with as many jets as you effing can. Right, and low flyovers too, just really getting those afterburners going so it just rocks the buildings. When you show that type of force, that's going to show you're not messing around. If they still want to F around and find out, we're going, I look at, you know what? If you got to talk like this, you guys, you got to start being serious. And that's when at that point, you're talking boots on the ground. Now, it's easy for me to say because I'm in a room here and I'm not going to be sent off. But when you're talking like this, if it's that early in the administration, and you have a small terrorist group that's going to test you like that, and you don't do something, that's exactly what happened to Joe Biden, and look where that got us. You had the same thing with the Houthis, the Iranians, October 7th, but early on, the Iranians were attacking our merchant vessels, they were attacking our troops in Iraq, they were doing things around the world, and Joe, for 127 times, said, don't do that, stop it, don't do that, you better not, they're going to retaliate, better not, and then he blew up after like 160 times an empty armory in like Syria or something that's just made of dust. I mean, nobody had ever used it before. If anything, it did him a service by getting rid of the rubble for them. You know, he demolished it for them on pennies on the dollar. Well, I should say that for them it was pennies on the dollar. For us, it was millions probably. But he needs to be serious here, and he needs to back himself up, and he needs to walk the walk. So that's where I like Trump's words. Nobody's tested him on it yet, and I think you're going to see people these next 4 years test Trump and see how far he will actually go. Before, people weren't sure. They're like, well, I don't know. I'll give you an example. When Putin wanted to invade Ukraine, when Trump was as president in 2016, Trump goes, you better not, Vlad, you better not. And Putin goes, well, you're not really going to use military action against us. And Trump goes, I might. And that stopped it. That was a deterrence. But here's the thing. After all this time, everybody knows Trump's tactics. They know how he works now. Nobody's really tested him on it. I think they're going to test him on this, you guys. I don't think the hostages are going to be released before January 20th. The question is will Trump be called on it? We will see. We will see. Now, the other thing Trump talked about was that I don't know about this one. This is the one statement he said yesterday that I was like, I don't know, buddy. I don't know about that one. He says, I'm not going to commit to not using military to get Greenland, Panama Canal. I don't know if this is a lost in translation. There's a clip here of a reporter asking a question. And I want to get your thoughts on it in a moment. But here's the clip and the exchange between President Trump and the reporter. And we'll talk about it after, but I want to know your guys' take on this in the chat.
President, thank you. Wanted to touch on the world on fire that you mentioned, but let's start, if we could, with your references to Greenland and the Panama Canal, so forth. Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your plan is? Are you going to negotiate a new treaty? Are you going to ask the Canadians to hold a vote? What is the strategy?
Yeah, I can't assure you. You're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this. We need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that you'll have to do something. Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China. And we gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China. And they've abused it. They've abused that gift. It should have never been made, by the way. Giving the Panama Canal is why Jimmy Carter lost the election, in my opinion, more so maybe than the hostages. The hostages were a big deal. But if you remember, and nobody wants to talk about the Panama Canal now because, it's inappropriate, I guess, but because it's a bad part of the Carter legacy. But he was a good man. Look, he was a good man. I knew him a little bit, and he was a very fine person. But that was a big mistake. Giving the Panama Canal to Panama was a very big mistake. We lost 38,000 people. It cost us the equivalent of $1 trillion, maybe more than that. Probably the most expensive. They say it was the most expensive structure, if we call it a structure, which I guess you can, ever built. And giving that away was a horrible thing. And I believe that's why Jimmy Carter lost the election, even more so than the hostages. Those two things.
So it's I'm not a fan of the utilizing the military to take over Greenland and the Panama Canal, to be honest. I think we have bigger problems right now that we need to handle. I do agree that Panama is being run by someone else other than Panama, but I think that was a little bit too much for me. But it doesn't mean that he's fully wrong, but I don't think he's going to use military force on Greenland or Panama. There is a lot of discussion about buying Greenland. I mean, Donald Trump Jr. just flew in the other day, and I don't know if you saw the clips of him flying in. He was interviewed really quickly by the press as he's walked through in the airport or whatever. And Donald Trump Jr. was asked, hey, like, what are you doing here? And he just goes, and Charlie Kirk was on the flight with him, by the way, when they flew in on Trump 1. And he goes, I'm just here to look around. Basically here on vacation. He's like, yeah, I was going to come here last year is what he said. I don't think so. I think he was there for a meeting. You don't just fly into Greenland with nothing out there. I mean, if you look on the tarmac, the airport, there's nothing around. He's like, yeah, I'm just here to sightsee. I don't think so. A lot of talk about buying Greenland, you guys, which is the fact that any nation nowadays is talking about buying another nation is very, it's just, I can't even fathom it. It's crazy. It's like Canada saying, yeah, we're actually up for sale. So it might not happen. I don't know how much of this is BS and not BS, but there's a lot of talk about Greenland right now. Some other things that are going on in the news here. Trump team says Democrats are playing political games with key national security admin post, which is weird because Tulsi Gabbard is, or formerly, a Democrat. Obviously, she's part of the Republican Party now, but there's still some Democratic ideas that she holds. And remember, I actually understand that if you're an old school Democrat, I fully understand like why you would be centrist and a Democrat. I can understand your logic. The Democrat Party has gone so far left, it's not recognizable anymore. And what's weird is they say the same thing about the Republican Party. They go, well, you guys went so far right that now you're not recognizable. Like, no, we've gone further center. Case in point, why everybody from the Democrat side of the aisle is actually coming over to the Republican Party. I would say we've gone too far center, in my opinion. I don't think we've gone further right. I think we've only gone towards the middle. Transition team says Democrats, Senate Democrats to be specific, are playing political games to Tulsi Gabbard's nomination process to be the next director of national intelligence. Gabbard's nomination hearing in front of the Senate Intelligence Committee was on track to take place next week, a goal of committee chairman Tom Cotton of Arkansas. Democrats on the committee, led by Mark Warner of Virginia, have refused to schedule a hearing on Gabbard's nomination, citing insufficient vetting materials. Oh, come on. The Trump transition said the delay, especially less than a week after an ISIS terrorist attack on U.S. soil, is sad to see. Well, Democrats don't care about terrorism. They say they do. They'll say to your face they do, but they can't explain why they're giving millions of dollars to terrorists. They can't explain why, in some cases, they're giving billions of dollars to a regime that funds terrorism, leading funder of terrorism, for that matter. Why would they care at all about terrorism? They say they do, but they don't. I mean, for years, right? The FBI director for Christopher Wray was like, yeah, there's terrorists here. Yeah, we actually know where they live. We know their license plate numbers. Gabbard's nomination hearing in front of the Senate Intelligence Committee was on track to take place next week. Well, it seems like that's not going to happen. So after the terrorist attack on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, it's sad to see Senator Warner and Democrats playing politics with American safety and international security by stonewalling Gabbard's nomination, who is willing to meet with every member who will meet with her as the process continues. So there you have it. Democrats once again playing games with our security, which is so fun, isn't it? Woo! We should just all be happy. I'm pissed about it because there's terrorists here and I don't like that because it harms my family and it harms all your families and it harms everybody's families because Democrats can't get it out of their heads that it doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican to these people. These terrorists don't like Western civilization. They just don't like you in general. They don't like Americans and they want to kill you and they don't get it. And I don't know how to help them get it. I don't know how to get it through their head of, the Democrat Republican thing out the window with terrorists. When it comes to like evil, the segregation, the separation of parties, that's out the window. They don't like you. And I don't know how to wake them up to that. I don't. And it's not that they just like terrorism, folks. They love a lot of stuff. And they love this as well. Check this out. House again passes Lake and Riley Act. 159 Dems vote against it. Now, there is updates on this. This is yesterday's news, like midday. There were some changes to the House and it looks like it went through and stuff like that. So on Tuesday, the GOP-led House of Representatives once again passed the Lake and Riley Act, a bill that would require federal officials to arrest illegal immigrants. Check this out. Watch this. A bill that would require federal officials to arrest illegal immigrants who have been charged with theft-related crimes in the United States. Folks, 159 Democrats opposed it. I told you they say one thing, they do a whole nother. These no votes show that some Democrats ignored voters who demanded secure borders and deportation of violent illegal aliens and laws that put the safety and security of American people first. Dude, I don't understand. Like, was there something in there that I'm missing to where like you wouldn't vote for it? 48 Democrats joined with 216 Republicans in voting for the bill, which had previously been approved by a lower chamber in March of last year. The legislation was named to Lake and Riley, a 22-year-old Georgia nursing student who was killed last year, which went viral. In addition to directing the Secretary of Homeland Security to detain aliens charged in the U.S. with theft crimes, the bill would allow states to sue federal officials for injunctive relief if certain immigration actions or policies harm their citizens. So, look, you don't want to do your job, you don't want to protect your citizens, which is the main job that you're supposed to do, then yeah, maybe there should be some sort of injunction placed. Maybe there should be some sort of lawsuit. You get your head so far up your you-know-what. Well, speaking of lawsuits here, we got this one. Sunny Hostin, we were talking about yesterday. Well, this is going viral right now, where Manny, her husband, of ABC News personality, is one of 200 defendants who were named in a massive RICO case filed in New York City just before Christmas. I'm not a lawyer. Q might know more about this. Q is a paralegal. Very, very smart. And I don't think just because you were named as one of the 200 defendants, Q, let me know if I have this right or I have this wrong. It doesn't mean that you actually did anything wrong. I know it's like innocent until proven guilty, but there's people that have been named in suits that were kind of at the bottom of the chain that had no involvement in it, but they were still named in the case itself. So hopefully I have that correct. Q will correct me in the chat. I'm watching live right now. But according to an exclusive report published by the Daily Mail, Hostin and many others have been accused of taking kickbacks and submitting fraudulent bills to an insurance company that typically insures Uber and Lyft drivers and cab companies. The lawsuit filed December 17th alleges that the Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services, including orthoscopic surgeries, and then reportedly billed American Transit Insurance in exchange for kickbacks and other compensation, which he disguised as dividends or other cash distributions. Well, that seems a little bit more specific. That seems like maybe he is a little bit higher on the totem pole here. So maybe I was wrong. Like I mentioned, you guys get real-time reactions, right? I'm not one of those guys that if you want that type of show, there's shows like that. I pull headlines that I think might be interesting, and we get real-time reaction, real-time commentary, as if I'm sitting back doing this myself, but I get to hang out and do it with all of you fine people. Daniel, what's his name? Thwaites? An attorney representing Hostin gave a statement to the Daily Mail saying that his client denies each and every allegation and referring to the suit as a blanket scattershot, meritless lawsuit by a near bankrupt insurance carrier. You know what that kind of remind me of is when Chevy Chase in Christmas Vacation does this rant. The blanket scattershot, meritless lawsuit by near bankrupt holy carrier. I don't know if you know what scene I'm talking about. If you don't, then this is awkward now. Now it's awkward. Further alleged that the insurance company was intentionally abusing the legal system in an effort to restrict healthcare benefits to its insured and their passengers and write off its proper obligations. So, yeah, but the orthoscopic surgeries and stuff, and you're billing it, it does seem a little weird. I'm not saying it had anything to do with it, but seems weird nonetheless. Really quickly here, because I do have a work meeting actually today, so we're going to end a couple minutes early. Something I really liked here, and you're seeing a shift with Donald Trump. We saw it before, right? With Donald Trump, even on the campaign trail, and then especially once he won the election, you saw an overnight shift in a lot of people's demeanor, what they were saying, what they were doing, and you're seeing it with companies as well now, where even Disney backtracked on pushing like a transgender character or like the LGBTQ stuff on one of their films most recently. So some of Hollywood is changing. And Q here has an update for us. It says, correct. However, like you said, it depends on your involvement. Sometimes they throw a wide net to get more data in support of the case. So there you go. Sometimes I know a little bit, just a little bit. Thank you, Q. I appreciate that. And good morning to you. Good morning, everybody. Yes, great movie. Exactly. Thank you. Well, what I love here is everybody's demeanor is changing. So as banks flee ESG, conservatives should remain vigilant. There's not much I want to add here other than the fact that Bank of America, Citigroup, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, and JP Morgan Chase have just abandoned the net zero banking alliance. While it seems to be yet another dire omen for so-called environment, social, and corporate governance, ESG scores, investing, it would be premature for people on the right to imagine that the left's lock on the finance industry is ending. ESG investing is basically the idea that investors should consider the non-financial factors of ESG in making finance and investment decisions. So basically, ESG is a score, almost like a credit score that's given to companies. And it's a score that's calculated by saying, hey, what type of impact are you having on the environment? What type of impact are you having on your social actions, what you're doing with society, and then what you're doing also with governance. And so they attribute a score. And it's actually a very scary thing. This is something that comes from Davos. It comes from the World Economic Forum. And with this score, the idea is that one, it goes against the values of the investors, and it goes towards the values of Davos, these elites, these elites that think they know better than you do on how to live out your life. And the idea is that it could progress into, well, if you on an individual level, which some of you do have, by the way, you have this, you have an ESG score, you just don't know it yet. You have to go ask the bank for it. That if you don't have the right score, well, they're not going to do any lending to you. That's the idea. Or this goes even further. They're going to start tracking your carbon footprint and say what you can and can't do. China does this slightly. They have a social credit score to where if your score is low and you use like a public restroom, they will limit the amount of toilet paper you're allowed to use. And that is not it seems like satire. It seems like I'm joking, like the world's a video game. No, if you take a massive dump and you have a low credit, like social credit score, you ain't getting a lot of toilet paper. You're getting two little thingies, just like this big. You're in trouble. You're in big trouble. So it's good to see that there is a shift. I want to see ESG gone totally, because it's not for the stockholder. It's stakeholder capitalism, which is not a good thing, because you're doing more for society than you are for the person that's actually giving you their money. And that's not how businesses are ran. Businesses are not meant to do what's best for society. They're there to do what's best for them to make the profit and distribute that to their investors. But that's not what ESG does. And speaking of that, look at this. McDonald's backs away from DEI programs amid shifting legal landscape. So this is good again. Fast food giant McDonald's announced Monday that it would step back from several diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives in light of a shifting legal landscape. The move comes after a number of major corporations like Tractor Supply, Toyota have scaled back their DEI commitments following public scrutiny. McDonald's executives said in a letter to accompany employees that the Supreme Court's decision to overturn affirmative action prompts the changes. Yeah, because it's illegal, and it always has been. That was the mind-blowing thing, was people were hiring based on race to fill positions and quotas. It's illegal. I told you, I'm telling you this, the Democrats theoretically have never changed, you guys. They just went from more of a physical type of slavery to metaphorical slavery, where they went from a physical segregation, in some cases, literally still physical segregation in the school systems. You guys, this is why you want to subscribe. We've covered stories where in public school systems, they have segregated students based on race. In today's world, we covered like 2 years ago. They're doing this with college graduations, college dorm rooms. And then you ask them, hey, do you agree with segregation? And Democrats are coming out saying yes. It's not a surprise based on prior ideology, but it's a surprise that it's like, why are you still pushing race in anything? The color of your skin doesn't mean crap. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but it's the oddest thing to me that they keep talking about race this, race that, race this. It's like, it's tiring. Brad's getting tired. So McDonald's is backing down. And I think you're going to see a lot more of this over the next 4 years where everything just seems to be coming back to normal. And we're like, I'll believe it when I see it. But, case in point, like Zuckerberg now has Dana White, UFC guy, on their board. And they're going to move their their teams to Texas for fact checking and stuff like that. So we'll see if there's really any change with Facebook. But it seems like as far as right now that we're making that shift back to normalization, which is great and nice. So we're going to end a little bit early. I do have a work meeting to rush off to. I want to thank everybody that contributed their money in the chat. Thank you so much. We have a goal, and we're going to be doing goals every day because look, it's how we're going to get to 100,000. There's no way we'll get to 100,000 even in 5 years with what YouTube's doing to us. So everybody that contributed, thank you so much. If you feel like you love the show, then and you want to subscribe, it's absolutely free. Just hit that subscribe button. Follow us over at Rumble. We're also on X, Twitter. We're everywhere, folks. And greatly appreciate all of you. Hope you have a lovely day. If you're in LA, please be safe and pray for everybody in LA, man, because those fires are it's bad. It's really bad. With that being said, I'll see you next time here on The Bald Brad Show. Take care, Patriots.